We've had some questions over things that you should be looking for to replace when you purchase used or semi-used truck. First thing is your suspension is working right. So you want to come to the back, you want to check your torque rods. If you change one torque rod, change the other one. If you see that the bushings are starting to dry rot, because I'm gonna tell you, if the DOT man catch it and he can shake it, it's no good. Another thing you want to check to make sure DOT doesn't mess with you is these brake lines. These brake lines should be separated by this butterfly clip. See the butterfly clip? If these lines at any point in time start rubbing together, it's gonna rub a soft spot. It's gonna bust on you. Another one, your shocks. If you start seeing fluid, it looks all wet from down here, the fluid inside the shock, the little cylinder, it's gone, it's busted. Let that go. Another thing you wanna check on trucks that you buy used, the exhaust system. You wanna make sure you don't see no black slick coming around. If you see any cracks on your flex pipe, these are all minor things that you can take care of. Make sure that your stuff is secured. You don't want your pipe shaking all around, because once this breaks off, that's when you come into money. You want to attack small items with a big purpose, because you're looking at the bigger picture. Used truck, replace these. You should replace these at least, I want to say, once a year, because I'm pretty sure there's going to be 2 or 3 days out of the year you done drug them down the street by mistake. On the ends, you're going to have an O-ring. That's something that leaks. This O-ring, usually when people keep doing this on it, it'll chop off half of that. It takes nothing for that to leak. Make sure you take care of it. Ha, ha, ha.
And it comes down to the money, because people are going to be talking about the labor rate. Or the shop charge is $135 an hour. The dealership charge you $150 an hour. But I'm here to tell you that the number they quote you sometimes is not the number that is going to bankrupt you. The real killer in the trucking industry overall isn't the invoice you pay at the counter. It's the invisible tax you pay every single hour your wheels aren't turning. So today we will be showing some videos about the maths involved that is putting owner-operators out of business, and why modern mechanics, despite their best efforts, are taking longer than ever to get you back on the road.
The infamous fuel water separator, the fuel filter. People said you got that wrong in the last video. They said I got it wrong, and I was, but we were just rambling off stuff, just talking about this great thing we like to call the mechanic world. So on a fuel water separator, if you see that level way up here, that filter is not serving any purpose. If it's way up here, it's not serving any purpose. And usually when you change those, it comes with a new filter element, and you change the O-ring here, and there's an O-ring under here. If it's a used truck, let's say it's a 2015 and you get it in 2025, that's at least 10 years, I will replace the air dryer element. Unless the housing is cracked, you just replace the desiccant. This is the time when you want to pay attention to your cooling system, so you want to check your belt. So if you zoom in on that, you see how that is starting to show lines. It is starting to wear. So my recommendation for this customer is we might want to replace the fan belt. And last but not least, these old trusty, dusty things here. This is the reservoir, the coolant reservoir. You see how dark it is? Coolant reservoirs, if they start getting dark like this, you need to replace it. Most people replace those every 2 years. We just gave out some info. Main thing you're supposed to check, you want to make sure at all times your lights are working properly.
But before it goes any further, let's do a quick math. Say your truck goes down for a turbo issue, and the shop quotes you about $10 an hour of labor. And you think, okay, $1,400 in labor plus parts, I can handle that. But that 10-hour job doesn't take 10 hours. In 2024, with part shortages and bay availability, that truck might be sitting for at least 3 days. Let's look at the process of those 3 days. Day 1, you'll have diagnosis and waiting for approval to get the job done. Day 2, you're waiting on a specific gasket from a warehouse about 3 states away. In Canada, it's over 3 provinces away. And day 3, the actual repair takes place. Now, if your truck generates between $1,000 to $1,500 a day in revenue, you didn't spend $3,000 on a repair. You lost about $4,500 in gross revenue. And add in your hotel, your food, your truck payment, that doesn't stop just because the engine did. That affordable repair just cost you about $8,000.
Wipers, your tires, your brakes. That's the main thing, because you can't drive without brakes and air. You can't see without the windshield wipers and the glass. You can't see without the lights, and you ain't going nowhere if your tires are bad. That's a 4x4. Get with it.
3 things I wish I knew before buying a truck with a Packer engine. First, I wish I knew it would break down within a month of buying it, leaving me stuck for another month waiting for repairs. Second, I wish I knew that you can't just stop at the first shop along your route to check the engine. You need to find a shop that has spent $12K for the original software and also has the knowledge to work with it. Based on my experience, there are only a few shops in the country that can do both. Third, going to a dealer doesn't mean the problem will be fixed. A couple of times, I went to a dealership with an engine derate, and they told me to come back when the truck was broken down. What do they mean by when the truck broke down? The truck had already lost power. What more do they expect to break? Fourth, if you want to drive a Packer engine, you need to buy access to the software for $12K per year and attend Packer University to fix problems on the road yourself, instead of spending thousands of dollars at random shop. Fifth, be prepared for mechanics to spend days working on your truck, fixing unrelated issues, charging you $180 per hour, and then telling you to go to the dealer where you already know what's going to happen. But yes, it's a good engine before you start using it.
But why does it take so long sometimes? Is that the mechanic is lazy? I've worked in this industry for a number of years, and I can tell you the engineering has outpaced the repair network. Mechanics aren't swapping out alternators anymore. They are diagnosing complex after-treatment systems where one faulty knock sensor shuts down the whole entire rig. And the parts, as a parts person, I used to see it every day. The supply chain is still fractured. You will have trucks sitting for weeks waiting on a single module that used to be on a shelf in every single parts drawer right across North America. And this is what I called the operator's death spiral.
All right, so this truck has multiple issues. A common issue on an ISX that I want to show you guys, and if you've been driving and had an ISX for any amount of time, you've probably went through this, but I constantly see people who don't know about it, so I'm going to show you anyway. So in ISX, your oil pressure sensor is located back here behind the ECM. So what we see commonly is the oil pressure sensor will start bypassing oil through the plug, and this is what you get. So you start getting low oil pressure issues, codes on the dash, stop engine lights coming on, and in some cases, it actually shuts the truck down. Worst case scenario is the oil will actually pass through the plug and work its way down into the ECM and fail the ECM. At that point, you're buying a harness, an oil pressure sensor, an ECM. You're getting the ECM set up, and it's super, super expensive. That's about $120, $150 sensor that can save you all that headache. Now, something else I want to show you and talk about is this customer had a turbo failure. Well, it looks like...
And we mentioned about turbo earlier. Now, if you have a breakdown, you drain your cash reserves on the repair. You lose the revenue from the load you missed. You're now desperate to run hard to make it up. And you skip the next periodic maintenance service to save money. Boom, you break down again. It's going to be a vicious cycle that is wiping out the smaller operators. And the only way to fight this, you have to budget for the time, not just the repair. And maybe, just maybe, some of you will need to build relationships with shops that have the parts in stock. In smaller communities, mechanics are on call, always. Large fleet operations like fleet companies, they will have mobile departments. One of the jobs I did early in my career was delivering parts to mobile mechanics hours away, and they were there assisting breakdowns on the highway. So I want to hear from the drivers out there. What's the longest you've sat waiting for a simple repair, and how much did it actually cost you? I wanted to drop the comments below about your horror stories. And if you want to know which specific truck brands have the worst parts availability right now, hit that subscribe button, because I'm going to try to expose some of them in my coming video.
I know the sequence of events here. They put a turbo on this truck. It lasted 100 miles. And then they thought to themselves that they're still having a power issue, low power issue. Well, it can't be the turbo, right? We just put a turbo on it. Well, come to find out, the actuator on the turbo is been broken by the vanes on the turbo being stuck. So as you can see, they've been throwing parts at it, putting differential pressure sensors on. None of their harnesses are tied up. It's super, super sloppy craftsmanship, stuff like this. This stuff is all going to cause problems later on down the line. So definitely look your trucks over when you pick them up from, shops and stuff like that, especially if you're not at your home shop. There's a lot of workmanship issues on this truck that we're going to have to iron out so that we don't have issues later on after we do fix the power issue on this truck.
You want to know why mechanics don't trust truck drivers when they say there's nothing else wrong than what they've been called here for? This is why I don't trust them. Buddy's wheel seal is so bad that it's dripping off the tire. And I was only called here to fix an air leak on the maxi that's right beside that.
Her story here is similar to the doctor's office here in Ontario. You go there for a diagnosis from the doctor, you need help, but they have signs on the wall that says 1 symptom per visit. This reverse is true for when you take your car into a dealership to get a diagnostic. You go for an oil change, you go for a brake pad change, but they're going to reel off a 21-point inspection and tell you everything else that is wrong with the car in order to capitalize on it. It's called upselling. So maybe she could actually upsell and get some more business. But hey, that's how some people make money, and that's how some people actually complain. Remember to grab a copy of my ebook, The Parts Manager Guide. The links are in the description box below. Stay sharp, stay educated. Thank you for joining, and I will catch you in the next one.